Welcome back. I'm Jennifer Cochran, and it's my pleasure as a certified lymphedema therapist, movement specialist, researcher, nationally board certified health and wellness coach, and breast cancer survivor to continue talking with you about breast cancer related lymphedema on behalf of Casting for Recovery. So we've created a 3-part series for you to talk about the basics of breast cancer related lymphedema in video 1, the fact and fiction of breast cancer related lymphedema in video 2, and now we've arrived in video 3. We're going to talk about how to approach exercise with an eye for how to make it work for your body in its post-treatment place, wherever that may be. Before we start moving, I want to talk for a minute about the importance of wearing compression garments when exercising, if you've been fitted for them. So I get it. It takes up space under your clothes. It can feel weird to wear, especially when exercising. But it really does make a huge difference, and it helps prevent more advanced lymphedema. So as I shared in video 1, when the lymphatic system is impaired because you had lymph nodes removed or because there's scar tissue from surgery, wearing a compression sleeve helps the lymphatic system to function. So basically, compression works the opposite of an ACE bandage. So just because they may look the same, you definitely don't want to switch one for the other. So when wearing compression during exercise, the sleeve works with your muscles to pump the lymph fluid in the arm, reducing the potential for backup into the arm, which can result in swelling. So basically, as you work the muscles press against the compression, and the compression presses back to create that pump, to pump the fluid, to keep the fluid moving up and out of your arm. So once you get used to wearing it consistently, you may actually find that your arm is smaller after wearing it during exercise, which is exactly the point. So please give it a try. You may just find that once you get past that initial discomfort and you get used to it, that you actually feel better. So now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's do some stretching. It has been my experience that when we have challenges, especially following treatment and surgery, we're likely to avoid activities that are difficult or uncomfortable. And that can actually cause our mobility and strength to decrease even further. So this set of stretches was created for Casting for Recovery by Bob and Jean Anderson. They are the pioneers of stretching. Their book, called Stretching, is in its 40th edition, and their website is shown below, stretching.com. So Casting for Recovery uses this set of fly fishing stretches as part of the retreat weekend activities. So as a recent alum, this may look familiar. These are great, not only as a warm-up for fly fishing activities, but also as foundational stretches to help increase mobility and function. So today we're going to review these stretches and add some modifications to improve our ability to find success with every stretch. We don't want to omit any of these stretches just because they're a little bit challenging or we can't make them look exactly how they look on the paper. So I'm going to give you some options. The materials we're going to use, I've got a chair. A lot of these exercises can be done in a chair, which is fantastic. I've got a yoga strap, but you could also use a belt, a jacket. You could use the sleeves of your jacket. Any kind of item that you can grip on either side. So I'll show you how we're going to make some modifications, and let's get started. In yoga, we sometimes call this lion in the kids' classes. So there is one caution for this stretch. If you have clicking in your jaw or suffer from TMJ, then you should consult your dentist before doing this stretch just to make sure that it's safe for you. So we're going to start by raising our eyebrows and opening our eyes as wide as possible, and at the same time opening your mouth to stretch the muscles around your nose and chin and stick out your tongue. So that's what we call lion with the kids. So you're going to hold that for 5 to 10 seconds, and we're going to add a little neck stretch here. So you can drop your ear toward your shoulder, letting the shoulders get heavy and sink down on both sides as you gently stretch the side of the neck. Then coming back to the center, we're going to bring our ear to the other shoulder, letting the shoulders relax and be heavy. And just notice, coming back to the center, just notice how the stretch feels one side to the other. It's completely normal as we go through these stretches to find that each side feels a bit different. So next up are shoulder shrugs. So I'm sitting here in the chair, so you can also be standing. If you're standing, you want to have your feet hip width apart and toes pointed straight ahead. So I'm going to do this from the chair here. I'm at the edge of my chair, but you also want to make sure that your chair isn't going to slide on you or move in any way. So you want to have it on a no skid surface, or you could put it up against a wall. Always, always, always safety first. So we're going to do some shoulder shrugs here. So here we're going to raise the shoulders up toward your ears and feel that work that's happening in the neck and the shoulders. We're going to hold that there for 3 to 5 seconds. And then we're going to release the arms down and let the arms be heavy at your sides. And see if you can find complete relaxation in your neck and shoulders. So shoulders are an area where we may hold stress, so let's take an extra 5 seconds here and really release those arms down. We're going to take an inhale into the ribs, and as you exhale, see if you can find an even deeper relaxation in those shoulders. So as we inhale, we're going to shrug, and as we exhale, we're going to release. So we're going to inhale up and exhale down. The full expression of this stretch looks like this. We interlace the fingers with the palms facing away, and we reach the arms up overhead. And we bring the arms back just slightly back, further back, and we reach up. So this is a big stretch, and we can release those fingers. So the goal here is to stretch the arms, shoulders, and upper back. So if interlacing the fingers is putting too much stress on your shoulders, or you're just not able to lift them up because you don't have that full mobility in that arm, we've got a couple of different options. So we can take our strap and hold our strap in our hands and reach it out. And with the hands a little bit wider, with a wider V, we're able to reach the hands up. So that is one option. When we have the arms wider, our shoulders have more space. Our arms are able to move a little bit more freely. So that is one option. Another option would be to come up, and I'm going to use the chair. So again, we want our chair to be on a non-moving surface, and we can bring the arms up, bring them down to the chair, and we're going to step our feet back until our ears can come between our biceps, letting gravity help us to get into this stretch. So then we're getting that stretch in the shoulders, through the arms. So if I bring it to the side, it's going to look like this. So that is another option. Couple different modifications there for how to get that nice stretch through the arms and the shoulders. So our goal here is to stretch the neck and the top of the shoulder and those muscles going into the delt, into the top of the arm. So the full expression of this stretch is over here. And you can see we're reaching back and grasping the opposite wrist. So the most important part of this exercise is to be able to stay nice and tall and open across the front of the body. So if we're a little bit forward, if we've got a forward head, if we're really rounded in these shoulders, it's going to be a lot more challenging to be able to do this stretch well and safely. So it's really, really common for breast cancer survivors to be tight across the front of our body. And especially depending upon what type of surgeries you may have had or how your rehab has gone. So the belt or strap can really come in handy here, as if you're unable to keep good body posture and be able to reach behind your back to grasp the opposite wrist. So a great modification here is to hold the strap behind your back. So I'm just going to step back here. So we're going to take the strap, we're going to bring it behind us. So I've got my hands outstretched. We can turn to the side and we can walk those hands along the belt closer together. So we're keeping the shoulders nice and open, the chest is open, and we're lifting up, lifting the rib cage up, trying to stack the ribs over the hips and the head over the shoulders and right over the spine. So as we bring the hands together, we can turn the head, look down to the corner, and then use that hand on the same side the head's turned to and give a little stretch to the other arm, getting that nice stretch. So the hand is reaching down and across. And then we come back to the center, turning the head to the other corner, looking down, reaching that opposite hand down. As it comes across, you're getting that nice long stretch from the top of the head all the way down the neck through that arm. So a good modification there if you find that you're tight across the chest and reaching the arm is causing you to collapse or have a more challenging. So our next stretch is stretching the back of the arm. So if we were to do the full expression of the stretch as it appears here, we're going to raise the arm overhead, pat ourselves on the back, and then using our opposite arm, give a little pull back on that elbow. So my hand is coming straight down. My elbow is really pointing toward the ceiling. I'm going to bring that back down. So if it's hard to get your shoulder, to get your arm all the way up to the ceiling, there's a few different things we can do. We can start here with the hand on the shoulder and then lift the elbow and see how high you can lift the elbow on its own, and then you can add the stretch with the other arm. And we're going to do that on the other side, so bringing the hand to the shoulder, lifting the elbow up as high as it's able to go, and then giving it that stretch back with the other side. So we don't want to overdo it. We just want to work until you feel the stretch, hold it for 10 to 15 seconds, and then switch sides. So with consistency over time, you're going to see improvements. So if you can't lift that arm all the way up today to bring it down with that elbow pointing toward the ceiling, just start working where you are. And you can use that other arm. When you feel the stretch, that's as far as you need to go. You're going to find those improvements are happening over time. For this stretch, we're focused on stretching the side of the body. So from the arm to the hip. So this is also another great stretch that we can do seated. So if you're standing, feet are hip width distance apart, toes are pointed forward, and feel really grounded in your feet. Little bend in the knees just to protect your back. But if you're sitting, if balance is a challenge, sitting is a great option. Most of these stretches can be done from a seated position, which is Fantastic. So if we're here, we're making sure that we can feel both of our sitting bones. So you can just kind of rock back and forth in the seat, feel your sitting bones, even if there's a little bit of fluff, I bet you can feel them. So bringing the hands up and side bending. Now, if it's a challenge to get your arms over your head and a little bit behind the head, that's a pretty strong chest opener here, and it's a lot of shoulder mobility. So we have the option of using our strap. So I'm just going to slide back a little bit here so it can be in the video. So we bring the hands up and we can side bend. So I'm reaching this top hand up and I'm feeling that stretch, and I'm really feeling grounded in the sitting bones. So I'm feeling that stretch through my arm down the side into the hip. So relaxing those shoulders down. We're going to go to the other side. So I'm reaching through this arm. Shoulders are down on my back. And we're coming over to the side. So that is an option for this exercise. So if that is also challenging, the most important thing to remember is that this is about stretching the side of your body. So we're meeting these stretches where you are in your body today. And keeping good form is always more important than going further in the stretch. Or trying to do the most complex version. So slow and steady always wins the race. So you can also use a wall. So I'm going to step to the wall here and just show you how this might look when using the wall. So if we come to the wall, we can walk the hand up the wall. And then we can turn into the wall and get that long stretch. And then we can walk the hand back down. So we're walking the hand up the wall. And then we're turning and turning the hand just a bit so that we're feeling that nice long stretch through the body. So using the wall is a nice option. You can get that wall walk, so you can get that extra stretch into the arms so that you have the ability to use the leverage of the wall. So that's always a great option for any of these arm stretches where you're really trying to bring that arm a little bit further and get that stretch and flexibility, and we can do it in a nice, gentle way. Again, only going as far as you feel is comfortable and just to your edge. We don't want to go past the edge. We just want to go right to the edge, and we can keep building on that every time we come back to these stretches. If you can place your hands behind your head with your elbows all the way out to the side. Now, if your elbows are coming in or you're rounded or you feel like your hands are pulling your head down and it's hard to stay up and upright, then we're going to modify. So if you can keep your hands behind your head, you can interlace your fingers or you can bring them a little bit wider, depending on a little bit wider. Let's your elbows come down a little bit. So depending on where you are, we're going to bring the shoulder blades together, which is going to bring those elbows back a bit, and then relax. Bring those shoulder blades together. So it's a big chest opener here, and relax. So if getting those hands back behind the head is difficult, we can use our strap. So I'm going to move my chair back here. So I'm going to bring it out to the side. And we're going to take our strap behind our back. So I've got my hands a little bit out to the side. I'm bringing my shoulders together, and I'm relaxing my arms down. And then I'm bringing my shoulder blades together and relaxing them down. So an option here is to, as you bring the shoulder blades together, let the arms reach back. And let that help open the chest and bring those shoulder blades together. Because the goal here is to work the center of the back there between the shoulder blades. So using the strap also helps to get that chest expansion, which can sometimes be really challenging for breast cancer survivors. All right, so this one's pretty straightforward. We've got some calf stretches here. So you can see my feet. I'm going to put some bend in my knees. Heels are on the ground, and I'm kind of wading into my heels here. And I'm bending the knees to stretch the back of the calves. So if your calves are really tight, it's also a great option to hang the heels off of a step. That's another great way to get this calf stretch. And it's a nice way to use gravity to stretch the back of the legs a little bit more. That one is pretty straightforward. We sometimes call camel in yoga. So we can do it seated or standing. So if you're standing, like in the graphic here, we're going to have feet hip width distance apart, toes pointing forward, little bend in the knees because we want to protect those knees. We don't want to hyperextend them. So a little bend in the knees. But if we're doing it seated, always a great option, we have a few options. So if you have a chair like mine that has these rails on it, you can reach the hands back and look up. Shoulder blades are coming together. We're lifting the chest, we're lifting the belly. We don't want to let the belly go here, but we're stretching across the chest and we're extending the back. So we're really letting that back do some work. And then we can bring the hands forward and round to the back to stretch that out. So then we can grow tall, bring the hands back, or you can bring them to your low back, bring them right to the top of the hip bones there. So I'm using my fists right at the top of those hip bones, lifting up, elbows are coming together, big stretch across the chest, back is working, and then bringing the arms around, and we're going to round the back. So when we do back extension work, we want to give it a little round and stretch the back out after it's done some work for us. So last one, we're going to reach the arms back. So I'm coming to the back of the seat of the chair here, lifting the chest, keeping like a piece of fruit under my neck, under my chin here, extending my neck, getting nice and tall, lifting the belly, lifting the chest, and bringing the arms around, pulling the belly in, and stretching the back. That concludes all of our set of stretches for today. And hopefully the options that were provided here gave you some ideas for how to modify and slowly work back into stretching and exercise in a way that's safe and feels successful for you. So I want to thank you so much for being here with me through this 3-video series. And I really hope that we were able to bring you some new information that you've maybe never heard before, or reinforce some things that you maybe had heard before but had forgotten, because we get so much information, I think we forget more than we remember. If you have questions or comments, I would love to hear from you. You can email me at the email address listed here, or you can also check out my Year of Cancer Truth Notes, and I would love to hear yours too. So you can check those out in my Facebook group, Surviving is Just the Beginning, or follow me on Instagram at @the Jennifer Cochran. I look forward to hearing from you, and happy stretching!